Hello there. I trust you're doing well. Today is Saturday, August the 23rd, 2025. Welcome to episode 3. Now, this is going to be hopefully a video episode. However, you can listen to it if you want to. So I'm going to try both here. Um, we have officially survived our first 2 weeks of school and also my first 2 weeks of my new job. Oh, what to share and not to share. That is the question. So let's get started. This is the Two Way podcast. I'm your host, the elected engineer, Eunice, aka Triple E. The purpose of this podcast, by the grace of God, is promoting growth by providing thought journeys with others while provoking charity in all things. So, needless to say that school is in full force. And just like in past years with the kids, it's sort of like a uphill journey to get there when we're getting started. So it was no different this year. And I was feeling pretty good about the new tools I was using. And the adding the Excel spreadsheet into the mix, adding um mirror board into the mix. We used Jira last year, not too successfully, eh, but I don't even know if we're using it successfully this year or not, but we'll see. I think we have improved from first week to second week. It was a little bit better, a little bit more going on. I may get a little techie, okay? Usually, I don't know. I'm a tech person. I've been techie ever since my 20s. So it's hard for me to even think about not being technical. So I'm gonna try to keep it light on the techie side of the house. Excuse me. So let's think about this. So I did some automation, and I have a video out there about it in Jura. In Jura, I was trying basically to so the kids to make it simple for them, right? So that they'll just take their assignment. There's 3 columns. There's the what they need to do. So that's kind of like my lesson plan. I think I explained that before. And then there's this in progress column. So you just click and drag it over into the in progress. And these are the things you're going to be working on in the week. And it would automatically assign it to them. It will give a start date and a end date, a due date. And it was working fine in my testing and everything. However, there's a limitation with the free version. Well, there's a limitation in every version, but in the free version, you only can do 100 rules or executions of a rules in your project. I went overshot. Okay, and so we are manually adding the information that was once automated. Now, the good news is that it resets next month. So I can use 100 rules or execute my rules 100 times. Um, and then I would run out and then I would have to wait till next month to use those rules. So, what I decided to do, because I made seven rules. I decided to consolidate 2 of them into other rules. So that's less execution time. But I did come up with a new rule that I was thinking I wanted to implement. But I did disable a rule that I had that I decided, yeah, I don't need to use that particular rule anymore. I don't see the value in that rule any longer. So I kind of removed that one completely. Not removed. I deactivated that rule. So now I have less rules, and I've combined some to execute the rule instead of executing twice. It execute once. So I'm able to next month be able to. We should be able to make the whole month. Excuse me. So I'm hoping that's as techy as I get in this particular video. Um, but overall, the kids. Oh yeah, let me tell you this. I did run into the fact with me working in this job, my new job requires me to go in the office because I need to get trained, get acclimated to the work environment and different things like that. And plus, also get my equipment and everything too. So I've been going into the office, meeting different teammates, meeting even people from other teams as well. And so I've been leaving here. Sometimes I come home from work. There's approximately about a 15-minute mm, transition. So leaving my desk and coming into the house is about a 15-minute span. So that's coming and going. So that's 30 minutes. So now my lunch period, you can do the math, right? So I didn't come home every day, because a couple of times because we were down one vehicle and other things need to happen, Elizabeth needs to go to work. But I do have two shout outs, okay? I have two shout outs that really help us in this week for the past 2 weeks for school. And it would be Grandma. Grandma, she did a lot of taking Elizabeth to work and actually picking her up as well. Also, she brought a meal one day too. So she helped out a lot. And then one day when I didn't have a car, I got dropped off at work. I called Malcolm and Malcolm was able to bring me home. So shout out to Malcolm as well for their help with our transition of our 2 weeks. Now, I do not know how long it's going to take for me to work from home. My manager did tell me that when I start working from home, I would be on a rotation schedule to come in to the office at least one day a week. Okay. So, and with that, you can go in when you want to. Then the other days you just come in if you want to. You're not required to come in the office. So, which is pretty cool, I think. And there's a couple other perks with the job as well that I'm sort of excited about too. So we'll see. I'm learning a lot there. And I think once I get everything, learning all the systems, and I think there's a couple of certifications I need to work on and for the job. I don't know if it's a requirement or just it's probably not a requirement, but it is most definitely a optional thing to have, and it would probably be good to have. So, the only, I think, sad part about this, I guess, or yeah, I'm gonna use the word sad, I think, is that I will not get a chance to use my Scrum Master certification at work. At least not right now. I don't see it happening right now. Maybe there is a chance for me to. I don't know yet. So we have to figure that out. I will not be considered a Scrum Master for sure, but maybe in the future, maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. Um, I don't know if I want to be oh, okay, you know what? I am not gonna we only in week 2, so let's not think too far down the road. We're so by the grace of God, we'll see what the Lord have in store for me there. But overall I think it's a good fit for me for sure. The people are pretty nice. Small group of people I work with. There are some other groups of people that I'll probably work with as well too. And I did experience my first me being third level support. I did experience working with a user, and I do have another incident that I'm assigned to. And it's not necessarily our group that should be working on this particular incident. However, I decided to keep it, and I think it just be good. It'll be good exposure. So I'm doing it for good exposure. Um, Good exposure for me with the equipment that we use, the hardware we use, and then also too with some of the people that we support. I think it's going to be a good exposure for me. And because I try to remind people at work well, at least this one person that I work with, that it's been about a year and a half since I've worked. So I am not up to speed, right, on things. There are a lot of things because I even remember working where I hadn't done it in months, and I'm like, I don't remember how to do this. So, and I'm very appreciative for somebody who's been out of work for a year and a half and given the opportunity. So I do feel very fortunate, right, and thankful to God that He has allowed me this opportunity to do this. So I'm really excited about that piece for sure. But so some of the challenges were sleeping. Um, my sleep schedule still is sort of out of whack, and I'll tell you why. One of the reasons is because the before before I supposed to work, start work or whatever, or even know I was going to be working, I had made a commitment that I was going to teach American history this year and geometry. Hmm, right? Like, how was I going to do that? We're getting a job and then going into the office 5 days a week, and school is also starting. It did not go well. I would come home. I would be so tired. I couldn't do anything. And I wasn't expecting the kids, okay, now let's have a class. So I decided to do some content, make some videos, American history, and make some videos for geometry for the kids to do. So I did that. And one night, I think I stayed up almost 2 o'clock in the morning trying to get some content in, and then having to go to work the next day. And it was really a hard struggle for me. So then, um, the kids still could not get into the groove of listening to the content. I think AJ listened to some of it. Um, I think he finished all American history. I don't think Alicia, or not Alicia, but Elizabeth. I don't think Elizabeth listened to any of my content. And so the first week I decided that we would just reset. Let's make week two, week one of American history and geometry. And then there still was some misunderstanding with my kids on what is required to satisfy a week's worth of work. One of the things that they were thinking that for geometry, they just need to do one lesson, but that was not the case. The case was they needed to do 5 lessons. Okay, one lesson a day. Um, so yeah, and I don't know why they thought that one lesson a week was a good idea, but we finally got that understood. So the end of week two, I still don't think Elizabeth listened to all my content, and actually, I think he did. Now the geometry. So this is what we end up doing for geometry. Um, we had a class today. Today is Saturday. We had about an hour and a half, and I wanted to cover what I felt like would be beneficial for them for the week, um, to cover the whole week. But then I also told them that they needed to listen to one more video. There was a video that I did, my day 5 video for geometry. They need to listen to that video to meet the requirement for the week. And I think they should be fine. I think they're going to be okay for the test. So I don't know what's in store next week. I have no idea. If But I will say from week 1 to week 2, things were better the second week than they were the first week. Even with me at work, I was so tired the first week. Was so tired. Um, and I wasn't sleeping well either. And the second week, it got better. Matter of fact, Friday, I came home and because the kids were doing their work, I fixed their lunch. So I did fix their lunch, which we got to fix that situation too. They need to have lunch and those kind of things too. So we got to still figure out what to do there. Now, breakfast, their dad, because he's back at work, going to work at 10 o'clock, he's able to provide breakfast for all of us. Well, except for me, because I need to be at work before 8 o'clock. And Friday, I did miss two meetings at work. I don't know if they were mandatory meetings. One was not on my calendar, so I can kind of, you know, um, that one can almost be overlooked. But the other one, it was on my calendar. I just completely forgot that it was on my calendar. And so, but hopefully that won't happen again either. Yeah. So, oh, so the automation piece for my, well, it's not an automation piece. There is the grades. I'm recording their grades. That part is going pretty good, I think. I had a little bit of some technical issues there. I did resolve those technical issues. Because some of the subject names that I'm tracking on Elizabeth, oh, not on Elizabeth, but on Alicia's report card or progress report, I didn't have, I wasn't included in the pull down for the subjects. So I had to add that. And then also AJ has decided to do Japanese. So he's getting into that now. So I have to end up adding that also as a subject. And Elizabeth, I didn't have the Spanish, I didn't have the foreign language, Spanish or Japanese on my lesson plan. So I had to add those, and I end up using a putting the summaries in a spreadsheet and importing the spreadsheet, or in this case, it was a CSV file, into Jira. And there was a little bit of an issue. I still haven't resolved it. I haven't even looked to see how to resolve it in Jira, but it's not a showstopper for what I'm doing. It is something I do need to clean up, but currently it's not something that I'm tracking. I'm not using as a in any of my automation um, tasks, so it's okay right now that I have that issue. Um, and that's interesting thing about technology as well too, right? I'm using technology. There's an issue with it, but it's not completely stopping me from doing what I need to do. Now, because of my business mindset of with the kids of okay, we have an automated process, but you need to have a backup plan if your automated process doesn't work. I don't have the automated, I do not have the manual process or what you would say in a business environment, the BCP, right? I don't have a backup continuity plan for how will we do, what will we do if technology just blew up on us? I do not have that plan in place. But with that said, um, I do, well, I started this week printing out the grades. I do have the grades in a spreadsheet. I just print them out every day now. Not every day, but every week. When I, and it's just a spreadsheet. It's this is not a good one, but I will short a little bit of it. It's not any, there's no personal information on here. Now, interesting thing about my kids too is in Jira, that's the application I'm using for the lesson plan. They have accounts that they have to log into and put their grades in there. AJ has changed his name, and Elizabeth has not Elizabeth. Well, technically, all of them have. They changed their names in the system. Now Elizabeth is using her real name. AJ has a character, and Alicia has a character as well. They have changed their names in there. So there's Liam, that's AJ's, and then there's Jenny, who is Alicia. Um, Elizabeth had a like her email address as her name, but it's been updated to just her first name. I thought she was going to put Ariana in there, but she just decided to use Elizabeth. So, and I hope they don't change it because as they change the name, and maybe it doesn't really matter, um, because on their official records, their real names are on their official records, and that's what I have control of. The um the the Tableau dashboard that I'm using to display their grades on the dashboard, that one has their names, those made up names. Whatever names that they decide to use is what's name going to be on there. So if next week they decided to be somebody else, that new name is going to be there. But I think it's actually no, it won't mess up anything because when I'm pulling the information out of Jura, Jira knows that the other person is the new person. So those that work is still assigned to those people. The new people get their assignments. So when I export the information, it'll still be tied to the person, whoever that person is. Because because what you're using is an ID. So that you can't change the ID because the ID is unique. But you can change the name as many times you want to, but it's tied to the ID. That's why you can keep the information the same for the people when they're changing, if they want to change it every week. So this week is Jenny and Liam and Elizabeth. I don't know who next week who's going to be doing the work. I have no idea. So it's going to be interesting to say the least of what's going to end up happening with all of this. I'm enjoying it, I guess, right? We all can enjoy. And another thing too, I got so much cleaning to do. I am in my office space here and there's a lot going on in here. It's just too much going on. I do want to do some decluttering in here and I'm hoping to take my time, just a little bit at a time and to kind of grow into it. Okay. So I do think um I'm so thankful to the Lord of all this, what he's doing. And there's a lot of other things I can talk about for sure. But overall, I think it's been a very blessed 2 weeks of school. And I didn't even mention the week prior that we went to Arkansas to see my family. And it was good to see them. And I did do a lot of cooking there, which was really odd. I felt like I was wearing an apron like at least 3 or 4 days while we were there. And they were appreciative. It was nice though to have them come over, spend a little time with me, for us to talk or whatever. Um, and I vaguely remember too when I was growing up, my mom, when I would come home from the military, and I would cook me something. She would cook me something. It don't never have to be anything big. Just cooking me something or whatever, and we just sit and talk. So it was pretty cool that we stayed in the Airbnb, and I would cook something, and some of my siblings came over to eat. Yeah, it was pretty nice. Um, and yeah, it was pretty cool. And not just my siblings. I had some nieces to come over too, and but they're like my sisters. My nieces, the ones that came over, all four of my one of my sister's kids, El Bauer, her kids. They're like my sisters. We grew up together. When they came over, we hung out and talked and everything. And different times, I did see Lynn the most. And I was, it was crazy. I think all the time I was there was well worth it. I was so thankful to God for the time that was spent. And yeah, so here we are. We are at the end of this particular episode. I do thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, thank you so much for listening. Recall to your mind, be strong and courageous if the Lord is with you. Bye now.